thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk about the Heiress. But I guess before we sort of dip into that, what can you remember what it was that made you want to be an actor? Because it's not the easiest of career paths to go with.
I was always creative as a child, and it changed every week, to be honest with you, what it was going to be. I think in the end you realise that if you're an actor, you can potentially play all of them. So there was that, and also, I mean, you're told it's hard. School tried to put me off. I think they told me to be an admin assistant or something. However, you know, I decided to go ahead anyway, and because I didn't come from a background with money anyway, it wasn't like I was going to lose anything by taking the gamble. You know, my life wouldn't change so much.
Yeah, cool. And I mean, how did you then go to acting school, or did you just learn on the job?
I first started acting when I was about 16. I did a college course. I went to the Miskin Theatre in Dartford, which at the time was the best acting course around. I think it had very good reviews. Yeah, and we were taught by working actors who were great, and a real inspiration to us. So that I think that really hooked everyone in, you know.
Yeah, I guess obviously seeing people that had forged a way through obviously gave you guys the confidence that there was a way there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the teachers opened up the world for us in a sense, because we looked at things we probably never had, like political issues throughout the world, and we got to kind of test our boundaries with each other and our opinions with each other in a way, in a safe environment. So it was nice.
Although the Heiress is a horror film, it's a very different to the conventional. When you read the script, what was it that appealed to you about Clare?
I think that the fact that the Heiress was a really unique script, and it was set in a really, really normal kind of family life setting. I hadn't seen a horror film like that before. Normally they were kind of set up like the conventional horror film is, with the spooky house and things, but I'd never seen a normal kind of family setup that was a horror film. And the role of Clare, I mean, she's so deep and so complex. That really appealed to me, I think. And being able to do the journey that Clare goes on, I'd never done that before in film, in that length.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, if ghosts and that were to happen, it wouldn't be in a Gothic mansion, it would be in that everyday home environment. So it does have that unique sense there of this is how it would happen. It wouldn't be with sweeping walls around it. It would be in the middle of a housing estate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what makes it scary.
Yeah. And I say, Clare is a very complex character. Did you have to do much preparation to get into her headspace?
I did a hell of a lot of preparation. Yeah, I did a hell of a lot of preparation. I firstly ousted everybody, and I rented a flat before the film began and while it was shooting, just to give me a sense of that loneliness that I think Clare feels, and to give me the space to get into all the different places that I need to experience before I get onto set. I'm not really one for kind of, having a laugh and a normal life and then getting on set and then wondering why I can't access that place. I like to kind of know it might be there in me.
Okay. I mean, one of the things that stood out to me was, the relationship between between the two female characters. Did you guys have much time to nurture that relationship? I mean, I know that a lot of films are working to quite tight budgets, but did you guys have much time to work on that?
Yeah, I mean, we had enough time. I think that me and Jane, we really gelled anyway, which was easy, and we had a lot of time in between scenes when they were setting up to, you know, have a giggle, talk about what was going on, discuss various different things. So it felt easy when we got together. For some reason, it just, the whole entire family setup in the Heiress felt really easy. It felt like we was a family, you know, and also the natural differences in character in real life, in the way that the two girls are quite different, I think mirrored that of me and Jane in a really, really nice way, you know, just from two different kind of places. And
yeah, and it definitely sort of comes across on screen. You know, there is a great dynamic between the two of you.
Yeah, I mean, the female characters are absolutely brilliant. You know, Chris's writing makes it easy, I think, for us. You know, they felt fully fledged when we got to set already, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not often that an actor gets to work with their director. Obviously, Chris has a part in the role. It's quite a memorable part in the role. You know, what was that experience like, getting to, you know, muck around with the boss?
Memorable, to say the least. It was so much fun. I mean, Chris is absolutely great to work with, and to actually get to act alongside him was brilliant. And to take Claire outside of her house and try and give her a normal night out, you know, which didn't work. But yeah, there's humour there, and also it highlights the tragedy when you take it outside of the house environment suddenly. You know, we do it a few times, but I think because that was an attempt at normality for Claire, it really hit home in how bad a way she was, I think.
Yeah, and it's also quite interesting that, you know, he's the outsider, but he can see what's happening in the house more so than those around her, which I guess, you know, is something that's mirrored in society. Sometimes it's an outsider that you know, can pick up on things that the family misses.
Absolutely, and maybe that's it. Maybe the family was blinkered to exactly what was going on, or wanted to be willfully ignorant to the possibility that there might be supernatural goings on. I think they live inside the family drama, which is Claire is the victim, poor Claire, Claire's got problems. And I'd never seen that in a horror film before, where another person had come into the mix and experienced the spirits. Normally, you tend to see there's one person who experiences the really weird goings on, and you imagine that it's definitely all in their head, or, you know. So that was great, that element.
Yeah, the bulk of the film takes place inside Claire's house. Did the enclosed environment help tap into those more sinister elements of the story? Because it's a scary film, but it's not a scary film with jump scares all over the place. It's a scary film because of that oppressive enclosed environment.
Yeah, for me as an actor, with one main location to set the drama in, especially with horror film, it's not the first time that I've done a horror film that's set in largely one location. And what it enables you to do is, once you've really processed the script and you're so familiar with it, the beings that are in the script live for you. They live in that house and they live in the rooms. So if you're not changing location constantly, it can kind of suspend belief for you a little bit more, which really, really helps with things like that.
I mean, some genres, you know, like westerns and musicals, they come in and out of fashion all the time, but horror seems to be one of those few that has been around since, you know, since day dot, since silent movies, and is, you know, it's still just as, if not more popular today. I mean, naming films that have come out during the pandemic, I can name you more horror films that have come out than I can any other sort of film. You know, what do you think it is about these films that makes them so popular?
I think with horror film, you get to push your own boundaries of your mind. you get to know yourself in a way differently, trying to imagine how you would be in that particular context. And it's thrilling to experience the kind of scary stuff, but in a safe environment. You know, you go through a lot and then you get to live your normal life. Appreciative, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any particular favourites in the genre? You know, do you have one that's like your go-to scary movie?
I mean, I have a lot. I mean, I love vampire films, so I love Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think I always love a romantic kind of gothic element when I'm looking at the horror genre. Most recently, I loved The Witch. It's really, really difficult to scare me watching horror films, which is a problem, you know, for some of the people that I'm with. But The Witch did scare me, you know, and the fact that it touches on things that actually happened in history, and the treatment of women, and I just think there's something particularly scary about that, which was great.
Yeah, you know, it has a great performance by Anya Taylor-Joy, but then also, you know, Black Phillip, you know, he's one of the best animal actors there is, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it was brilliant for me actually to watch their performances. Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, outside of acting, you know, you also work as a writer, and I know that you've done some advising on Romany culture and language. They're obviously very different roles to acting. You know, what do they give you out, you know, that the acting jobs don't?
I think with acting, you are at the mercy of the elements, if you like. You can't control anything. You don't know what work's going to come in, what auditions might come in, how they're going to go. But I think the cultural advising and the writing keeps my brain busy all of the time, especially with the writing. I mean, I can be creative when I've got the time, whenever I feel like it, and I can decide exactly what I want to explore and kind of go there with it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously having something like, you know, Peaky Blinders on the CV in whatever capacity it is must be quite nice to say that, you know, you're a part of this show, which is, you know, such a phenomenon over here.
Absolutely. I'm very, very proud and, you know, lucky to have worked on Peaky Blinders. It gives me a great sense of joy, I think, especially when I know that Cillian Murphy is listening to my voice while he's learning his lines. I like that element. So.
I mean, sort of, you know, rounding off questions, you know, finally, you know, where can we see you next? Obviously the Heiress is out into the world on Monday, but, you know, what other projects have you got in the pipeline?
I've got a few writing projects in the pipeline. Really exciting TV project coming up, also involving some acting, but I can't say any more than that at the moment. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also hoping to get my first feature film made that I've written. And yeah, I suppose see what happens. That's all you can do, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with me, and best of luck with the film.
Yeah.